in our words. This one is in discomfort, in physical body, and we cannot support her discomfort. And so we will finish here for this day, grateful for the dance of words you have allowed us to participate in with you, and always available to each of you in language, in thought, in energy. And so knowing how each week weaves into the next week, or weaves backwards to the previous, we encourage you to put our words together. And if this raises questions, clarifications from previous times, bring them to us. We are always available. But this week, we need to leave this one now. This one wishes to try for longer, but we will not use the body this way. Kareya Shasoru, Tirakashkasansi. Remember where we began, the unique center of you. And if you speak to another of your unique center, do so only to compare uniquenesses, not to seek samenesses. Time, the safety of sameness is done, no longer as useful as it has been, a tool no longer needed. We make not your sameness histories wrong. We merely encourage you to step outside the walls of sameness, for they protect you from something you no longer need protection from. Ayashku, Ayashtu Santai. Gratefully, we are yours, always. Kari, Sori, Tamis Tosh. We are done, and we are clear. Continuing February 26th. Don't mind the eye patch, but if I'm going to see you without difficulty, I need it. The reason we had to stop is I have an eye condition going on right now that I expected would cause me no problems in intuitive sight. But interestingly, when I finish channeling, it is as if I've been trying to read for 20 minutes and the bad eye is uncomfortable. And so, mind you, I thought we didn't talk very long, but I gather we did.
An hour.
Sorry, but this isn't working. I'll just do this.
That was wonderful, thank you.
Were there any comments from the online participants? Or?
Nah, nobody. No, nobody emailed tonight, so. There's a little bit of a delay. So if they leave space for a question, it's about a minute, a little over a minute, so.
Has that created a problem before?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Maybe they don't see the email address maybe we should probably at the beginning, before you start, just audibly say it, because they might not see
Yeah,
it on the page.
there was administrative stuff I was
Yeah.
going to do tonight, but the energy was present,
Oh, that's okay.
and so I just
Yeah.
went right into it.
Well, now everything, we've got the whole session now available all the time now, so.
The
so just a
downloads
sample.
weren't
Yeah,
seemingly wanted, so we
Mhm.
decided to make the whole session available each time,
yeah,
and then just ask for donations
Mm.
if it serves people.
yeah.
And so what will happen even tonight, for those of you online, is that within, I don't know how long, probably within 24 hours, there will be a podcast of tonight available on the Spreaker that will not be produced. Previously, David was taking it and producing it and cleaning it up, and now it'll just be as it was, and it'll be available on Spreaker. But to speak to what David said, for those of you online, there is a minute or two delay, but nevertheless, write your questions, and if space is not made for them, we can always revisit them the following week, because
you can
David
email
gets
them.
those emails.
Yeah.
And for those of you online, that email address is connection questions, connection singular, questions plural, connection questions @gmail.com. And that goes, David's monitoring a laptop, so those questions. And it was interesting tonight, and I wanted to continue longer because I could see the weavings between what we said today and what we've said previously, and how I really liked how we said the words are the keys, because there's so many ways to say the same thing. If there's one thing I've learned in doing soul readings for so many years, is that there's so many ways to say the certain thing, and the language or the words is always so important that I often will correct a word when I'm doing a reading. No, that's not the right word, and I realize now from what we're saying that it's like there's a key, and then when the right word is used, the connections are made and the synapses in the brain fire, and then understanding arrives. And so but I could also see very clearly that the safeties we've grown with over our decades and before our generation are really becoming superfluous. We really are evolving into a species that doesn't have to try so hard. And again, I'm not speaking for every single person in the world, because I could again see very clearly that it's like when we're speaking, we know who's listening, and that's who we're talking about. It's to get away from that idea that this generally applies to 110% of all the people. One of the things I've often prayed for since I began in this work in 1988 was that I would be tuned to whoever is present and use whatever language, whatever energy will serve those who are present, whether it's internet or here. And so I'm understanding that the generalities, we're getting away from that generalization place. And I also found tonight personally useful because I've been struggling with questions of identity and uniqueness these last 10 days. As odd as it sounds, the more I do connections on Tuesday, the weaker I feel in my definition of self. And it's been freaking me out a little. Makes me feel a little bit like I'm losing my mind, but what I'm losing is this structure of label. I can't even explain it. I've tried to explain it to David at least 3 times in the last 10 days, and I can't explain it. But
is there you're talking about oneness and uniqueness. And actually, before I even say that, would a pair of dark glasses help you?
no,
Or
what it is
turn the light
I've got a situation that I stumped the eye doctors. And I have in my right eye, I have a column just to the right of the iris that is blurry. And so when I look at you, there's this column of blurriness. And as long as I don't try to focus, it doesn't hurt. But when I try to focus to read or do an email, it hurts. And so I expected there would be no problem in doing channel, but there must be a level of focus, because by the time I finish a reading or an hour, it's all painful, like the muscles as if I've been focusing. It's an interesting, anyway, we're waiting for the next doctor appointment.
Reiki it out.
I have been.
Access
I'm open to
consciousness.
grace, send it to me.
Access consciousness.
Exactly.
Take
It's,
from him what you need.
what I realized today is it's the right eye, which for me is, anyway, I
Yeah.
found
Anyway.
all full of symbolism. What was your question?
The thought in the past is people, humans, have been searching for the connection between each other as oneness. I don't know if this
Yeah.
is what was meant, but
Yeah,
we are the same.
yeah,
And that's how we can honor each other instead of looking at you are a black person or you are a red person or
Mhm.
you are a woman, you are a man. We are, but we are all one. And so we don't need to do that anymore because we already know. Is that
Mhm,
We
mhm.
already know we're one. There's no need to do that anymore. And
Exactly.
the uniqueness.
And it's like because at the core of creation we are the same,
We are the same.
but in form we came to form to be unique and to experience uniqueness. But it's like what I hear as I'm listening to you, it's like the small-mindedness is going, well, if we're all the same, then we all must be the same. We should wear the
Yeah.
same color, we should
Right.
speak the same language, we should believe the same
Yeah.
things. And so it's almost like we're trying to demonstrate oneness through sameness. But oneness isn't sameness.
No.
Oneness is
Yeah.
just that the energetic
Yeah.
signature of
So
Creator.
it's
is there.
almost like there's the concept of the mind, the way it developed. That's the only way it could do it. It's
Mm-hmm.
like having a it's like looking at a sunset in a piece of paper, or a picture of the sunset is what the mind sees and has to figure out. Okay, how can I perceive what a sunset is? Oh, it's this. It's
It's
two-dimensional.
Yeah.
Where a sunset is really three-dimensional on its true form.
And different every time.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
so the mind was only doing what it could with its limited ability, because of our
But it
the
feels like-
small self that they called it.
Celebrate our oneness, but
Mm.
also celebrate the uniqueness. of
Yes,
us.
Yeah.
exactly.
And there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that.
No,
No.
There's
no.
nothing wrong
I mean,
with
Yeah.
it's fascinating
It's
to me
exciting,
that,
I find. Yeah, unique.
that I
people.
could see how we could translate that
Yeah.
if we are the same and we are oneness, then we
Yeah.
are sameness. But it's
Yeah.
not the same thing at all.
Not like the Borg.
It's not like the Borg, yeah. I
Yeah,
love that.
So
And not to be afraid of it.
yeah.
Yes.
That no one's better, they're
Exactly.
just different.
Just different.
And what an interesting point of view.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which takes you back to
Yeah.
access
Yeah.
consciousness. That's
Yeah.
one of Gary Douglas's teachings.
Yeah.
What an interesting
Yeah.
point of view.
I love that.
I
very
have
much.
that point of view or I do not
Yeah.
have that point of view,
Yeah.
but it's a point of view.
But it's just a
Yeah.
point of view.
and it's not a right point of view or a
Yeah.
wrong
Yeah.
point of view,
It's
it is a
just a
point
point.
of view.
Yeah.
But it,
Yeah.
having been very different for a long time, I understood what we were talking about tonight very
Mm.
clearly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Because
wonderful.
I
Yeah. Very-
suffered for my uniqueness
Mm.
for the first decade of it. But
Yeah.
Didn't ask you a question. Did you?
No,
No,
it
we
didn't seem to be a
no,
place
it didn't-
for it.
no,
No,
I
there
think
wasn't,
maybe-
yeah.
I think maybe
but we
another
are,
time.
yeah, because we are. They did
Yeah.
say that's the second
Yeah.
time they've said, and so I
Yeah.
must.
Maybe like you
Remember
said, if
to make
people
space.
email in during the week, we'll leave a space for the
Yeah, that's an idea.
Us
If,
here
you know,
and,
that if you have a question from
yeah.
listening to it, email it ahead of
Yeah.
time, and then David's got it, or you
Sure.
guys coming here can bring it with you.
Yeah.
And remember to me
Yes.
to, though I'm
Yeah, if
sure
you
I'll
could-
be reminded to
Yeah.
make space towards the. I think I would do it at the end because usually when we
Mhm.
begin, the energy is present and there's like a pressure in me to speak,
Yeah.
and so I don't want to
Yeah,
move into my administrative
Yeah, no.
mind. So I want to go
Mm.
into that first and question later.
yeah, and then at the end you said, we would like to take questions from other times,
Yeah,
but
not
can't do it
Yeah,
tonight
no,
kind of
no,
thing,
no,
so.
my bu-
But
'cause
I'm
we'll-
still-
yeah, 'cause the-
my overwhelming, we get into these specifics and I'm still
Mhm.
thinking, okay, but why are we here and why is there something rather than nothing? And, all the big questions are still
Mhm.
there, like, so,
We're on the journey back. We've come from
That's
that
what I
place.
like to think. We're on a
And
journey
we've
back.
turned
but
around.
David said that and whoever you were channeling said, no,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, that's
You know,
true.
that was